Make sure your handyman doesn't include material costs in your bid. The handyman overcharging you for materials is one of the oldest tricks in the book. You're going to go ahead and pay for these and provide them to your handyman and contractor as needed. Make sure you give your handyman and contractors test jobs. You don't want to just hire them without testing them at all. So go ahead and give them a test job, like patching the roof or cool sealing it or painting a small area or fixing a small soft spot in the floor. Make sure that they have quality work, they don't complain, and they know what they're doing. Ask for referrals and check references. Make sure you understand the difference between the price of something and the cost of something else. Because the price is something that you're going to pay up front, the monetary value you're just paying up front to get the job done. The cost is the overall lifetime of the product or the service that you're paying for. Make sure your handymen and contractors have at least 3 years of mobile home specific experience. If a handyman or a contractor tells you that mobile homes and single families constructions are the same, they don't know what they're talking about. So a handyman and a contractor with mobile home experience is going to save you, because they're going to know shortcuts, not to band-aid a property to get it fixed correctly, but to do it quickly and cheaply. Talk is so cheap. Action speaks so much louder than words. Just like a bunch of things in life and most things in life, action speaks volumes. So make sure that you keep your eyes wide open. Don't listen. People can talk the talk, but do they walk the walk? While walking through your investment mobile home, go ahead and point out issues to your handyman or contractor. Ask them specifically how they would fix something. They should know right then and there a specific answer for you. It's going to be a quick remove and replace of this material. We're going to put this here. Possibly we could do this, this, and this. And they're going to give you the most cost-effective way. If they're lackadaisical or lollygagging or they don't know what to do or they're asking you for advice, that's not something you want to do. You're not going to be a teacher for your handyman or contractor. They should know what they're doing. Show up to local hardware stores at around 6 a.m. to befriend and find local handymen and contractors just getting started for work. Remember, you are the boss. Let your contractors and handymen bid for your homes. Don't tell them how much you would pay. Even if they ask you, well, how much you're looking to spend on this? Don't tell them. Say as cheap as possible, as inexpensively as possible. Don't give them how much you want to pay. If you have to say just a few $100s, let them bid on what it should cost them. You're not paying them per hour, you're paying them per job or per home. So you can itemize how many each repair should cost, and then they can group that together. But if you don't know how much something should cost, soft spots in the floor, holes in the roof, any other questions you have, I'd be happy to give you my insights for the past decade. So go ahead and reach out to me at support@mobilehomeinvesting.net. I'd be happy to sort of clue you in onto the repairs and the costs. It's a big red flag if your handyman or contractor, while you're interviewing them, is bad-mouthing or going through the litigations or they're suing their past employee. Make sure you get a signed contract with the amount of time, the cost, and the expectations that you have for each property. The more specific you can be on that contract, whether it's a page or 10 pages long of the specific repairs, the time, and the compensation that the handyman or contractor is getting, all the better. Keep track of all repairs daily. If you need to get pictures daily or use a program like basecamp.com, make sure that your handyman or contractor is keeping in touch with you daily as to what's being done and what was accomplished. If you own an entire mobile home community, make sure that you interview your handyman or contractor in front of your park manager. The handyman or contractor needs to know that the park manager is the boss when you are not there, and they should be just as respected as you. Interview at least 10 handyman or contractors before you ever decide to go with one. How a handyman or contractor does something is how they're going to do everything. Never ever tolerate a bad attitude from a handyman or contractor. Make sure that you meet with at least 10 contractors or handymen face to face. That's probably going to mean that you're going to have to talk to about 30 or so over the phone, because if you schedule appointments with 30 handymen or contractors to meet you out at the property, then maybe 20 of them are going to show up, and of those 20, maybe 10 or 5 are going to actually want the job. You can make them bid together so you can get the best price and the best handyman. Remember, you're sort of cultivating something for the long run, not just this kind of one-hit wonder in this one project. Place an ad in the gigs section under general labor on Craigslist. This is a great way to find handymen, and you can go ahead and have them call you. The more specific you can be, the more pictures you can add of just how much you want to pay, just the repairs that are needed. That's going to be all the better. The folks that call you, they're going to be sort of pre-qualified because they've already heard your ad and they want to go ahead and get started, and you can pre-qualify them from there. Never ever agree to pay a handyman or contractor by the hour. That's another huge oldest trick in the book. You want to go ahead and make sure that you pay them per job, and the job should be done the way that you want it before they ever get paid. Always, while talking to your handyman and contractors, make sure, number one, you are business-minded and professional. Second, you are respectful to them. And then number three, at a very distant number three, you are social. You're not trying to be friends. You are business-minded first and foremost. A handyman or contractor should not be begging you for work. Now, on the sort of other side of that spectrum, a handyman or contractor should not be so busy that they can't fit you in until next month or the month after. Pay your handyman a 1099 and not a W-2. Remember, you're not looking for an employee, you're looking for a subcontractor. In this video, I've been using the term handyman, contractor, and subcontractor interchangeably. A handyman is typically somebody that works for themselves. They're probably mom and pop, maybe a sole proprietor. A subcontractor is typically somebody that works under a contractor, and a contractor is sort of the top dog. They have a lot of the experience. They might be swinging a hammer themselves, or they might have people or crews underneath them. Depending on who you go with, you're probably going to pay more for a contractor and less for sort of a mom and pop handyman. It's just important to know the different terminology there. You can use any one or all three if you choose to. Will your contractor be using a subcontractor, or will they be hiring out the job to a handyman for your project? Will your contractor be overseeing the work personally? How long has your contractor been running their own crew? How many guys are currently on your contractor's crew? How do they clean up their job site when they're all done? Never work with somebody that talks down to you or belittles you while you're walking through one of your properties. Think of hiring a handyman or a contractor as a triangle. And in the three corners you have price, you have service, and you have quality. Now typically you can find a contractor or a handyman with two of those, but it's difficult to find all three. If you find all three with the price, with the quality, and with the service that you want, hold on to that handyman or contractor for as long as you can. Before you ever make any purchase offers to ever purchase a mobile home, make sure that you know your repair numbers, and always add about 20% in miscellaneous fees for extra repairs needed. Mistakes are not failures. Remember that when you make a mistake, learn from it. Analyze every deal that you do when it's done, maybe even every day. What did you do right that day? What did you do wrong that day? And make sure that you never duplicate, you never repeat your mistakes. Always ask for handyman and contractor referrals at your local real estate investment clubs. If you sense something is not working right with your handyman or contractor, don't ever hesitate to bring it up. In fact, the more communication, the better. To your contractor and your contractor to you. Never be afraid to dismiss or fire a contractor before the job is done. Make sure your handyman or contractor is licensed and insured. A handyman or contractor should make your life easier. If they're making your life harder, dump them. Always make sure to get a contractor or a handyman with vast amounts of mobile home experience. Have I said that already? Handy women are just as competent and reliable as handymen, sometimes even more so. Has your handyman or contractor ever had disciplinary action taken against them? Ask if your handyman or contractor gives written warranties. If you've ever read the book, The E-Myth, you know that just because you're a great baker, it doesn't mean that you should own your own baking company. So handymen and contractors, handymen, the reason that some of them are handymen is because they can't do anything else. So they may take your job, they might show up, they might be alcoholics. So just remember that a handyman is not the end-all be-all. That's why I encourage you to get so many bids and pre-screen all the possible handymen you can. Ask around to local park managers for any mobile home handyman referrals. Typically, there'll be people living in the park that might need the work or want the work, and they'll know those shortcuts, the ways to save you money and get the jobs done right and quickly and for an inexpensive cost. Be proactive in your search for handymen or contractors. If you don't need one now, that is the perfect time to start screening and finding a handyman or contractor that does want your jobs as soon as you have the work to give them. Oftentimes your mobile home tenant buyers, the people that you filled up your mobile homes with when you have them rented or you've sold them on payments, they're going to be handy type people. And I love asking during closing or when I'm renting these homes, hey, what kind of skills do you have? What are you able to do if we have work to give you in the future? Because I'll typically know where they live, obviously. I can pay them with future discounted monthly payments. And I also probably have seen the work that they've done in their own home. And they've also told me what they can do. So I love to give them a shot. Where's your handyman or contractor's office? this. If you only need one handyman or contractor for the job, only hire one. When you hire one handyman, they're going to do work. They won't have anybody to chit-chat with. When you hire 2 or 3 handymen, typically I get less work done than when I hire just one. That's why we want to pay per the job or per task that we ask and not per hour. Also, unless they're hanging sheetrock on the walls or they're pulling out, a grand piano where it's going to take 2 or 3 people, again, only hire one handyman or contractor, and that's my own personal experience. Make sure your handyman compete against each other. This is very normal and very healthy. Remember that knowledge is power. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, never hesitate to reach out to me at support@mobilehomeinvesting.net.